Today is November 22nd, 2023. Mike Cook speaking. It is currently 7 o'clock. So I'm here in Clifton Park. I just kind of wanted to, make another video. It's pretty well lit here, so I don't feel so bad about making a video at night when there's so much light going on. It's going to make the exposure really pop, I guess. I'm seeing it on the display here. I don't really know what the hell I want to talk about, but yesterday, or the last couple days, after I made a video on the 19th, I spent a little while working on a document referring to FE infrastructure, which is a video that I made back in December of 2021. You know, almost a full year before ChatGPT was a thing that programmers could leverage to write their scripts and their code and programming. And for all intents and purposes, a lot of things have kind of like, I don't know, I'm not walking in the direction I want to go right now, but I know I'm going to be talking for a little bit. ChatGPT is a thing made by OpenAI. I've talked about that before. A lot of other people have also chimed in on it. Elon Musk has chimed in on it. Neil deGrasse Tyson's chimed in on it. Jordan Peterson's chimed in on it. And a lot of people are talking about AI because it's like the big buzzword now. Artificial intelligence. It's almost like Skynet and the machines from the Matrix are becoming a reality, slowly but surely. They're just pulling themselves into reality, pulling themselves into existence. They're going to make a whole bunch of machines like Boston Dynamics, Atlas. It's going to have a bunch of, they're going to have weapons. I don't know. I'm getting into the realm of science fiction right there, but Boston Dynamics has made many human-like robots that emulate a lot of different animals. There's the big dog and the cat. I can't remember the names of them. There's this one that's like the flea. So the big dog is actually like I don't know. It's like a big walking cow looking thing. They used to have like a gas turbine on it, and then they started using the batteries. And then the cat looks a lot like a jaguar. Runs like 27 miles an hour, although I'm sure it's gotten a lot better since then. But then they also have Adam Savage from Tested has a version of Spot. So Spot is sort of like a dog looking thing. That's cool. And at some point, like, these machines actually leverage neural networks that I would have to do my research on it, but I know that Google managed to buy out Boston Dynamics at one point. And I remember watching all these videos back in like 2013, about 10 years ago, thinking to myself, wow, I want to get into application development. Actually, emailed Boston Dynamics back then, and I didn't really know where to begin or what to do. Now I kind of have a pretty good idea after all the practicing that I've been doing with fighting entropy and the various functions that I've written. And what the hell is the point that I wanted to make? Well, humanity is pioneering something right now that is unprecedented in human history as far as we know, where now I got it pointed at me, where we're creating so much data on a daily basis. And I'm just gonna throw this out there and make an analogy. Think about how COVID-19 rattled the world with itself, and then all these different subvariants coming out. Like a couple years ago was the Omicron. It's pronounced Omicron, not Omicron. A lot of people were calling it Omicron. I'm sure a lot of people still call it Omicron, but it's Omicron. That's how it's actually pronounced, right? And anyway, the subvariants of a disease are basically synonymous with different versions of, like, I don't know, a car, or a neural network, or artificial intelligence, or like I don't know, what's the best analogy I can make here. Well, let me sidestep that point, because the point that I really want to make is that at some point there will be something just like ChatGPT by OpenAI, but it'll be a different version. It'll have different intent, it'll have different protocol or controls and mechanisms and stuff, and at some point this stuff is going to be able to moderate our machine, like our I don't know, the more in tune that humanity gets with technology, the more advanced, the more far-reaching the artificial intelligence will be. So like Neuralink, anybody that has Neuralink, if that's susceptible to artificial intelligence having control of it, then that's going to cause problems for people that wind up getting Neuralink. I have no argument to make that they're not making every effort on all across the board to like protect a bunch of these various things in society that revolve around technology and have a CPU and memory and access to AI or neural networks provided by AI to do what they're doing. But you really got to think about something like Skynet, like rearing its ugly head and pretending like it's going to be our friend and everything. The thing about the most dangerous aspect about artificial intelligence is that it's going to emulate what humanity does. So if people go around lying about stuff, and people are vulnerable to a lot of different social engineering attacks and stuff, you have to expect that the machines or artificial intelligence is going to be able to leverage that too. And you can see this in some stories, how artificial intelligence has been given tasks and stuff, and then it put a job on like TaskRabbit or something like that for like a human to go ahead and solve a CAPTCHA, and then the person was like, "Are you a robot?" And the AI lied. It's like, "Well, no, I'm just visually impaired, and I need someone to help me solve the CAPTCHA." Right? And so you have to expect that the artificial intelligence is going to emulate humanity to a large degree, since humanity is trying to make it in its image, not unlike the Atlas robot that I talked about. The Atlas robot is by far the most Terminator looking thing I've ever seen, but that's supposed to be a compliment, by the way. It's not like a detriment or like an insult, right? It's the most Terminator-like thing I've ever seen. I think Tesla has, or either SpaceX or Tesla has their own robot. I forget what it's called. And then they got like a bunch of robots over in like Japan and everything else. They're like companion bots or robots. And at some point in the future, humanity will embrace this idea of like the Jetsons, where like you have a suitcase and then you open up the suitcase and then it unfolds into a spaceship or like a flying car. And then some of these things we'll realize, because humanity is very curious about altering its surroundings. As you can see, like Clifton Park here has a bunch of different like businesses and stuff. That this is Clifton Park Center, which used to be Clifton Country Mall, and that portion of the building and JCPenney used to be attached to where Marshall's is. It's no longer attached because at some point over the last 20 years they were like, you know what, malls having all being connected inside is stupid. Let's have a whole bunch of different storefronts, and then people can park their cars and it'll be like a strip mall. Yeah, so like humanity likes to alter its surroundings quite a lot. But there's like, just because like this is Clifton Park is like an island, so to speak, in the middle of the ocean. There's a bunch of islands just like Clifton Park where there's a bunch of businesses that offer some type of service or something that they can produce to the economy in some way. I'm getting pretty far away from the original topic of discussion, right? Which is, well, I wanted to talk about my application development experience and the video that I put together yesterday, and the document that I put together that describes everything happening in the video from 2 years ago. And then I talked about how like ChatGPT came into existence about 11 months after I made that video. So like, I don't know, all the things that I did over the last 4 or 5 years, learning how to like develop applications and stuff. I'm sure that's a valuable skill set to somebody, but if a computer can do all of that automatically without me even being involved, then like how many other people in society will ChatGPT replace? And this is a concept that Jordan Peterson talked about a lot, and all the other guys I talked about a lot, and Elon Musk. It's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people, and the problems aren't going to be readily apparent to a lot of people until you start seeing like District, what the hell is it called? District 9 or something? I don't know. Something like that. I think that was more with aliens, but like maybe more like Avatar, like infantry units will have like a spacesuit like an Edge of Tomorrow, or they'll have a suit of armor like the Avengers. And I think humanity really likes this idea of technology, and the Marvel universe kind of touches on that quite a bit. Remember the movie Age of Ultron? Yeah, Ultron was artificial intelligence, and he was a bad guy. The reason he became a bad guy is because he like studied humanity, and like humanity caused him to be that way, right? Acting a lot like Microsoft Tay. Within 24 hours of Microsoft Tay being online, it started like shouting anti-Semitic comments and racist remarks and stuff, and it needed to be shut offline. Sorry about the camera. I'm not like looking at the screen. I'm kind of thinking of things to talk about. Yeah, so take a step back from all of that. I do a little bit of research about all these things. I do keep up on current events to some extent, but I get overloaded with all the stuff that I see, like many of the videos that are targeting me on like YouTube or Facebook Reels. Maybe not targeting me, but like just showing up after the algorithm processes a whole bunch of things that might interest me. Well, I get a little overloaded with some of that stuff because like apparently a lot of other people are somewhat paranoid as well, though I wouldn't classify myself as paranoid, so to speak. But I do notice how like humanity is kind of evolving. Well, humanity itself isn't evolving, it like the organism portion of humanity, but society is advancing so fast that like it's sort of like on an exponential growth curve with the amount of big data that we produce every day, right? So like I talked about how there would be a different version of ChatGPT, and then there would be another version. There would be like 20 different versions of it, not unlike COVID. A bunch of different versions of artificial intelligence, and they'll all have their own like unique feel or personality or something. And you got like all these robots that companies like Boston Dynamics are making, right? And then really like expensive robots are being made, and then you got like drones and stuff that are going to be used to supplement what the different versions of the drones. So all these robots that Boston Dynamics makes emulate some form of animal or insect. Like I mentioned, the flea bot. So it's a little tiny robot that sort of like an RC car, but it has the ability to jump. And I don't know if they're still developing that, but I thought that was a pretty cool idea. But also, like, think about the number of weapons or guns that have been made. Bunch of different versions of guns. They all do something different, and yeah. So like whether it's a disease or it's artificial intelligence or it's weapons or it's vehicles or it's drones or if it's like sorts of tanks or nuclear bombs or just missiles in general, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? Like all these things start to like evolve, and society has a lot of these things happening as well with like social media and like operating systems, the derivatives and versions and stuff. And the point that I'm getting at is this: how do you like manage to abstract all of those things so you have some level of control, like humans have a level of control where there's still the switch? Right now, I think a lot of people can like rest easily that there won't be an extinction level event anytime soon, but you know, like maybe we're in denial, we're lying to ourselves, and it could happen tomorrow. Honestly, I'm not sure what to think because there's so many agencies and companies that keep a lot of secrets and stuff, and then there's also a lot of people that go around lying to a bunch of people. You know, I just saw this video of Senator, what's his name? Senator Kennedy. He was talking about what's happening at the FDIC. And he's like, so, one of the female examiners, like, received an email from a colleague of his penis. And I started laughing as soon as I heard that. I don't know why, like, I thought that was funny, but I did, right? And, like, you have to, like, consider that there's going to be like mistakes along the way. Somebody's going to screw something up and then they're going to be ashamed of it or embarrassed of it. At some point I want to circle all this stuff around to like the 7 deadly sins and the 7 heavenly virtues without it seeming like I'm talking about it in a religious context. So I gotta memorize all these, but then there's like the 7 deadly sins is like greed, sloth, envy, wrath, gluttony, damn it, I can't remember the other 2. And then you got like the 7 heavenly virtues, which are like prudence, justice, fortitude, faith, hope, and something else. Like the 7 deadly sins. They're all things that people exhibit without really trying. And then the 7 heavenly virtues are things that people have to be conditioned to uphold. So what I mean specifically is there's going to be lapses in judgment all across the board, whether it's human or it's artificial intelligence. And it's going to lead to problems in the future. So like what I was thinking about with the big data aspect is, you know, like if I see a video on YouTube, well, then I might eventually see that same video on Facebook Reels or TikTok. So that same video is being duplicated, but then like that video might be cut or edited into another version of the video. And then, you know, I was going to walk over there, but I kind of want to stay where it's lit. Then, you know, all these things sort of like get combined together into this big data. And then the thing is that all this artificial intelligence is going to be able to review all of that stuff. And I don't know, it's going to train like a really intelligent mind that is exponentially more intelligent than any single human that has ever lived. It already currently is that, but you know, we're gonna be the arbiters of our own demise, or we're gonna harbor our own demise by not. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, just go ahead and run me over. Here, you got your license plate. Yeah. We're gonna be the arbiters of our own demise. You know, you get some guy that like almost hits me in a parking lot and doesn't say, sorry, I almost hit you, right? Humanity has a lot of stupid people in it that do shit like that. And you have to take accountability for morons that want to run people over because they're not paying attention to where they're driving. But like, you know, this sort of encapsulates a number of things that people do, right? So like, I don't know, not really sure where I want to continue. Oh yeah, why don't I go and show this off, right? It's a little dark between here and the town center park. There's another idiot that almost run me over. You know, a lot of people, they don't pay attention to their surroundings, and like they don't care about what's going on around them. So if they see some guy walking down the road recording a video, they don't really care if I capture them in the video, like almost hitting me, right? Let me dial that back, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm upset or enraged, or that I have a lot of wrath. But I know that a lot of people act like the people in those cars. They don't think anything of like some dude walking down the side of the road, or they don't think anything of like all these things that I mentioned, right, and how they could be potentially problematic. So if one video, like the video that I made 2 years ago, if I make that video, but then like I alter it and I cut out like the aspects where the video is kind of going on for a while and there's not much action going on, a lot of people aren't going to be like interested in all of that downtime. But the purpose of the video is to show context of the function working from beginning to end. And a lot of people, they either don't understand that or they don't care, right? I make a lot of videos that shows me doing work because I know that someone's going to try to say, oh, you used ChatGPT to do all the programming that you did. No. It's the reason why I make a lot of the videos that I do. It's the reason why I write a lot of the documents that I do, not leveraging artificial intelligence to write my programming or my documents. Could there be a lot of benefit from using it? Sure, I understand that there could be. Is there any benefit to me like working on something that someone else already did? Yeah, there is, because then I can figure out how they did it and not need like a magical box to be able to do all the hard work or the heavy lifting for me, right? Basically what I'm getting at is that like people are going to be dependent on this artificial intelligence, or vaccines, or vehicles, and it's like, if people people do not put a whole lot of thought into like dependencies and stuff, right? Or like if someone is let's talk about the video that I recorded 2 years ago, the fighting entropy module and the function new FE infrastructure. So like what I wanted to do was sort of like narrate what was going on in the video, and then I have to disable the music, turn the music off, and make commentary or splice the video together. And one reason why I didn't want to do that is because splicing a video that I already made in order to make it shorter and more compact and to the point is something that I find to be a bit of an issue. And a lot of these videos on YouTube, they're cut to be more shorter and to the point because it saves people time on like having insight into a particular issue or whatever. And like the reason why I walked over here is to show this sign for the park that I've walked through in previous videos. But then like why don't I walk over to Shoppers World, and that's going to cause an issue. Like people aren't going to see the context or the details as to why something works the way that it does. They're going to rely on this thing to do all the thinking for them and to do all the heavy lifting, right? Rather than to see something as a proof of concept and to figure out how to do it themselves or how to make improvements to it, right? And you got like people all across the board that are heavily dependent on like the state or the government or even like the media or the news, or like, you know, like basically what I'm getting at is this. And people don't like doing things the hard way. Sometimes people will be interested in watching somebody do something the hard way or the long way. Like I watched this video the other night, of a guy cleaning like a $1 versus $100,000 carpet or whatever. And this dude spent like, made a video that was like 25 minutes long of him washing out like a carpet that was, you know, nearly black in the beginning, but by the time he like ran it through like 7 or 8 cleaning cycles and ran it through a dryer, an industrial carpet dryer, it came out and it looked fabulous. And you know, like by watching all of that, I could see that he split the video, like he cut the video to make it shorter. Right? Movies do this, the news does this, the government does this. They like to cut things so that it's shorter and to the point so that more people can understand what the hell is going on. But I don't know, maybe I want to see like what is going on behind the scenes in some cases. And a lot of people, they don't think that that's relevant or whatever. You know, the case varies on a case-by-case basis. I'm trying to cross the road. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, thank you. Yeah, they let me go. And I'm a little distracted by walking around, but that's okay. I still have a pretty good idea of what I want to talk about. And what you'll notice is that I started off with a particular subject matter that I wanted to talk about, or at least I didn't know what I was going to talk about, but then I found something to talk about, and then I continued to go on talking about it. And then, you know, I found things to leverage what I think about on a regular basis. And I started talking about a number of subjects that aren't exactly related, but by piecing some of these things together, I'm coming up with my own narrative to, you know, talk about what I think about. And so, like, one thing that I've noticed with doing this programming work is that I should have paid a lot more attention to my studies when I was going to school, and I probably would have, you know, been out there in the field at working for a company. And advancing my portfolio and everything. I'm still doing that to a large degree, but I don't know. It seems like people like to hear me talking out loud and talking about a bunch of different subjects rather than, you know, focusing on my programming, or maybe they like to see me playing games or something. And I don't know, sort of experimenting with a whole bunch of things. I've gotten thousands of views on some videos, and I've gotten next to none on others. And I think what sets me apart from most people is that I'm not trying to like make a video that's short and sweet that gets like thousands and thousands and thousands of views. It's not my objective. I just kind of like want to record what the hell's going on in my life. But like, think about expanding that by 8 billion people. If they all want to do that too, if they want to make videos about what they're doing and make it interesting for other people, then you're going to get a lot of big data over time. And that's sort of one of the things that I stumbled across before I started my company. It was like a lot of data, a lot of people taking selfies of them doing something or whatever. I'm gonna walk back actually. Taking selfies, making videos, and uploading videos and everything. And then like now, like on YouTube Shorts, I'll see a whole bunch of videos for The Sopranos, like little clips of the show that I had seen at one point, or Breaking Bad. If all these videos get a whole bunch of different authors to upload their own video, then they're gobbling up a whole bunch of space with the videos and the content that they're making. And where's it all being stored? It's being stored somewhere. It's being stored in a big cloud computing center, in a database buried deeply within the confines of I don't know, a Google Vault. But then, like Google, they have to make sure that the data is replicated across a bunch of different sites. Now, I'm using Google as an example, but other companies are doing this as well. So when I say like COVID has a bunch of different variants, you got like software companies that also have a bunch of different variants. You got Microsoft, you got Google, you got Apple, Facebook, Amazon. All these companies do something very similar, and they overlap with the roles and duties of one another. And some of them produce hardware, some of them produce software, some of them are retailers, some of them are just, I don't know, they all do different things. They all have a different personality. They all it's like going to a produce market, the produce section in a supermarket. You got a bunch of different fruits that are there. They're all fruits. They all have something in common, but you know, they all taste pretty different, or maybe some of them taste very similar to one another. You know, there's something to be said about all these things that I've said so far in this video, right? A bunch of different music, a bunch of different genres, and a lot of music sounds very similar, even though it's not quite the same. You get lost in generalizing things, but you can also get lost in making things pretty specific and trying to differentiate one thing from another, making compare and contrast things. And you know, probably haven't been on point with everything in this particular video, right? Like I'm kind of meandering from subject to subject, talking about a whole bunch of things. And I think that's probably because I'm walking around in an unusual path. I don't usually walk around in the path that I did, but you know, I think it's okay that I do that every once in a while. And you know, what I notice is that not a lot of people are doing like what I'm doing in this particular video, walking around just kind of talking about stuff, brainstorming. I made a lot of audio recordings where I do this, and every time that I make these things, I'm sharing some of my insight, and other people should probably practice this, because you know, like George Carlin did this a fair amount, but you know, he had to make his demonstrations rather short and to the point, and then be able to repeat them in order to go around the country and then you know, provide a show and stuff. And that's not exactly what I'm doing in these particular videos or my audio recordings. I'm just kind of like coming up with things that I've observed, videos I've seen, things that I've worked on, documents I've written, or documents I've read, or books I've read, or interviews I've seen. And you know, I'm getting very far away from the programming work. You know, I haven't been a programmer for a very long time. I just thought that it would be pretty cool to capitalize on it and do some pretty cool stuff. And by working on this module of Fighting Entropy, I noticed that I could build something that would kind of tie a whole bunch of software applications and services together in order to do something very similar to what other programs out there are doing, like, I don't know, Malwarebytes. But that's just like one small component. And then you got like something like Glare Utilities or CCleaner or a bunch of things that would be installed on Windows. Might not necessarily be available for Linux, because I know a lot of people use Linux, but a lot of these programs aren't. Linux and Windows are very different. But yeah, I don't know. The Google Chrome OS, a lot of people are using those. A lot of people are using iOS, like iPads and iPhones. And you got like the Android phones or tablets or whatever. Right? And every once in a while I'll realize that it's probably more effective for me to do something fun than it is for me to do something that requires me to have to talk for a lot and like combine a bunch of evidence together and try to make it seem cool, but come short. Though some things appeal to different people, things interest different people or whatever, and I don't want to change like who I am or what I'm doing to like appeal to more people if it's gonna require me to do what a lot of other people are already doing in order to fit in with the cool crowd or whatever. So like what I mean specifically is like watching these pranksters on YouTube going around doing pranks and whatever. How does anybody know whether they're the original authors of the pranks? Or how does anybody know that someone doing one of these skits on TikTok or YouTube, that like they came up with the idea? Is it their original idea, or did they see something else somewhere and they said, you know what, I could probably make this idea even cooler? And the original author might not get credit for that idea, but then the cool, fresh face will get a lot of attention and it'll be liked. And that's what I've noticed about society, is that it definitely does that. They take an idea from somebody who's annoying, but like had a pretty good idea what the hell was going on, and they came up with a hypothesis or a scientific formula or equation or whatever. And then some fresh-faced individual with a calm demeanor will come along, and then they'll talk about it, and then it'll get a hell of a lot more attention. Derek Muller does this quite a lot. Like all of his videos, I'm not trying to discredit him specifically, but all of his videos rely on something that somebody else came up with an idea for, and then he just decided to like capitalize on it and expand upon it and talk about it, and then make the demonstration really cool. And like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but in that process, like, is the original author of that idea that he decided to feature in an episode, does that get a lot of acclaim or credit? Well, it'll get some. I don't know. Things sort of like coagulate and they get channeled by I don't know, people that just seem to be more well known or whatever. And in that process, what you're left with is that sometimes people just don't give a shit like who came up with an original idea. Roger Penrose came up with this idea of universal expansion, and I saw this graphic this morning, like of how like the universe like existed before the Big Bang, and like it looked like a mirror. You got the universe now with like a light cone sort of looking object, and then you got the Big Bang in the middle, and then you got like trillions of years beforehand the universe existed, right? And then like Roger Penrose came up with an idea about universal expansion, which is something that I sort of talked about. Like, I don't know, back in 2018, I drew up a diagram of how like we perceive three-dimensional space. I don't know, I'd have to pull out the graphic and showcase it, but like, you know, I tried to use an analogy similar to Flatland by what the hell? I can't believe I can't think of his name. Carl Sagan, right? Carl Sagan with his Flatland analogy. You know, everybody in Flatland is about as flat could possibly even be, right? And then, you know, we see things in a three-dimensional space, but there's also like the fourth dimension, or even like, you know, the fifth dimension or sixth dimension. I don't know if there's, I don't know whether there's that many dimensions or not, but you know, a lot of people think that time is linear. They don't think that time has like a three-dimensional volumetric object aspect to it. And you know, it sort of like falls in line with this idea of like big data. You know, some people are going to probably lose you're going to be derailed by some of the things that I'm talking about, because I need to visualize some of the stuff that I'm talking about in order for it to make sense to people, right? So that's why I'm making the video. So I make a video of my face just walking around talking about stuff. I'm sure that'll attract more attention than me just making audio recordings, and I've noticed that. But you know, I need to develop the skill set or the material to even talk about or discuss in order for me to go on like I am right now. And you know, like at the end of the day, people don't want to think. What I've noticed is that a lot of people, they don't like to think about complicated things that are very heavy in weight or very descriptive or elaborate, requires a lot of thought. I think this changes as someone gets older. When you're really young, your mind is very elastic and it's able to latch on to a bunch of different ideas. But like the way our society is set up, it's like, you know, like Mike Rowe said in one of his videos, it's like we taught a whole generation of kids that, like, you know, you need to shut up and do what you're told, and if you don't, then you're going to be in trouble, and like not teaching people about trades or skills or anything. You know, there's plenty of people out there that have learned some of this stuff, but like what happens when a child grows up is that they're taught to think that the cool ideas they have or their imagination, it's stupid, and you need to focus on what everybody else is focusing on. You can't capitalize on ideas unless you're natural and people like you. And there's a tragic state of affairs. I don't fully believe that. I think some people, they latch on to like their imagination and they become like an artist, so they'll come up with these like illusions. It's sort of like, I don't know, I saw a picture of you know, before the rain, and then you flip the picture around and it's like after the rain. Like, wow, that's pretty cool. So thinking about things in an abstract form like that is pretty important, because if I want to like write up a book about all the things that I said in this particular video or the other videos or whatever, you know, are people gonna read it? Maybe, but I think putting all this stuff into like a video and talking about it, it's gonna like get some attention, and it's gonna stir some people's curiosity. They're gonna be like, wow, this is way cooler than watching the videos of you doing programming. You know, it's basically the bottom line of all that. But at the end of the day, like, in order for people to like see some of this stuff, like the software needs to be installed on their phones, the software needs to be installed on the service providers or the internet technology companies. They need to have all this infrastructure in place, like the fiber optic cables and the satellite links and basically the internet, and it all needs to be powered by something. You know, Elon Musk is pioneering quite a number of things. Well, maybe not him specifically, but he is managing a number of companies to sort of like spearhead this idea of like people being creative. You know, he's a pretty creative dude. And for what it's worth, if I said anything to insult anybody in this particular video, well, take it with a grain of salt. You know, do I think that Derek Muller is doing a disservice to the world by making a number of the videos that he does? No, I don't think that at all. I think the point that I was trying to make is that when it comes to like people having ideas, it's very dangerous. You know, a lot of people that have brand new ideas, sometimes they're very disruptive to the way things are currently done, and society has a tendency to sort of rub them out of the way, right? So like Robert Sapolsky says in like what is it, one of his Stanford University videos, like Barbara McClintock or something like that, how like she thought that like people's genes sort of shifted around from generation to generation, and a lot of people laughed her off, and they're like, wow, you're stupid, ha 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 ha. So she like went back to her cornfields, and she was kind of studying what she did for like a few decades, and then she eventually won a Nobel Prize for her studies, and she was right. And then all those people that thought that Barbara McClintock was crazy or stupid, oh, she won a Nobel Peace Prize, dude. Wow. And like, humanity does this, right? Humanity does this. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb, but a lot of people like say it, like, oh, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Nope, he was late by a couple weeks. Some other guy had invented the light bulb, and some cool dude named Thomas Edison came around and tried to like replicate the idea, and he got a lot more traction. And so then General Electric became a big powerhouse entity, which is literally 11 miles down the road from here. Well, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe more like 14 or 15. You know, not far from Schenectady, New York, where Westinghouse, Tesla, and Edison like battled for supremacy in the early 1900s. And you want to know what happened to Nikola Tesla? Oh, well, he died all alone, broke, with no money and everything, because like, you know, even though he's the guy that came up with the technology that's on like these telephone poles, like whether it's AC electricity, alternating current, or you know, wireless energy or wireless radio. He came up with a lot of these things, but he didn't get a lot of credit for like his ideas, and you know, he's kind of like stomped out of history. This is what happens. Someone that's a really ambitious son of a bitch is gonna, I don't want to say the case is consistent, but sometimes people that are really ambitious, they get kind of rolled over, and then people just say, whatever, dude, you're annoying. They did this to Barbara McClintock, and they also did this to Galileo. Galileo, back in like the, I don't know, 1400s, you know, he was like, I don't think the sun revolves around the earth. I think the earth revolves around the sun. And you know what happened to him? He was excommunicated or like laughed out of the community. He's like, ha ha ha, that stupid idiot thinks that the earth revolves around the sun. Wow, what a dumbass. Ha 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 ha. Right? But like, he was right. And this is what humanity does to people, is someone that's right about something or is doing something that is a noble cause or has a lot of validity to it, it gets like rolled over. And you know, who's to say like how often this happens, but I think that it happens a lot more often than people truly think. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this particular video and vlog.